Hi, and welcome to Rick's Conspiracy Corners. And I know last time I had tinfoil on, but today I'm outside, and even I don't want to fry my brains. So let's talk about some things that are going on that maybe you and I feel the same about. Okay. So if you're someone who has looked around the last 50 years and noticed what a huge change there's been in our health, what a huge change there's been in our food supply, what a huge change there's been in the medicines that are available, and you went, maybe there's a correlation, then you're my kind of person. And so a lot of times we sit there and we go, well, that's cool. I can see this is not working, but what am I going to do about it? You know, the government's now got their Make America Healthy program, and they're making some great strides, right? Getting some dyes taken out, getting some of the things that are causing harm out of our kids' food supply and out of ours. But in the meantime, if you've noticed, with the dyes leaving, that's not until 2027 or 27 or 28. So, that leaves a little bit of time there where they're still there doing things to us we don't like. So, what can we do? Well, I think personally, I'm going to change that moniker to MOHA, make ourselves healthy again, or MFHA, make our families healthy again, because that's where we can actually make the most direct effect in our lives and in the lives of those that we love. And so I've started to really take a look at all of this stuff. And frankly, it's quite overwhelming. You've got seed oils, and you'll have experts sponsored by the industry often, or who are doing research sponsored by the industry, the food industry, who say there's nothing wrong with them. They're perfectly good, and they sound sincere. And I don't believe them. Okay. Your mileage may vary, and that's fine. I don't think they're healthy. I think we need to stick to beef tallow, to, if you eat pork products, lard, um, olive oil, avocado oil, butter, ghee, those basics when it comes to our oil. But it's in almost everything in the grocery store if you're shopping the inside aisles. So, what are some things you can do? Well, the first thing I'm doing is I've started going through my cupboards and I'm looking at things to see what's being added and is there a better alternative. Now, I'm not trying to be perfect because let's face it, we're not going to get to the point where every single thing we eat is healthy and untainted, because the crops that we're using to make our food are a lot of times there's insecticides and pesticides, and there's toxins in the soil and in the air. There's we can't make it perfect. All we can do is get as close to eating healthy as we can by looking at some things like the ingredients. So if it has dyes in it, well, can we find something that doesn't? Not as pretty, maybe doesn't even taste quite the same. But you know what I've found when it comes to taste is that when you start eating differently, your taste buds change. Right now, our food is being manufactured to make us addicted to it. And so that's something we have to break out of, which is another reason why maybe we have to go at this step by step rather than trying to go cold turkey and then all of a sudden nothing tastes good, right? So figure out the things that you're most concerned about. Is it seed oils? Is it dyes? Is it some of the chemicals that are carcinogens and are banned in every other civilized country on the earth? I don't know. What's most important to you? And then open up your cupboard. Start there. You don't have to go through the whole grocery store. Look at what you typically eat. So, for example, instead of eating regular pasta with all of its enriched flour and all the additives they put in there to make it, I'm using Barilla high protein pasta. Is it perfect? No. Is it better? Hell yeah, it's better. It's got extra protein in it. And when I use my CGM, my continuous glucose monitor, and eat regular pasta versus the Barilla pasta, the insulin spike is non-existent with the Barilla pasta, whereas it goes through the roof when I'm eating regular pasta. Is that important? Well, diabetes is an epidemic that wasn't an epidemic until it started in the 1980s, becoming an epidemic, and now it's totally out of control at an unsustainable pace. And so anything you can do to reduce the number of glucose spikes you have throughout the day, you lessen the chances that you're going to get type 2 diabetes and become insulin resistant. What does insulin resistance do besides type 2 diabetes? It's the cause of a lot of different ailments. A lot of chronic illnesses have at their root cause insulin resistance. Fatty liver disease as one of its root causes, insulin resistance. There's just a host of things that dementia, all these things that we don't want can be solved by figuring out what foods affect our blood sugars more than others and avoiding those things. So not everybody wants to go out and spend $100 a month or more to use a continuous glucose monitor. Not everybody wants to have this stuck to them. Great. One of the things that we do in our school meal prep community is I'm testing the foods that we eat. So, for example, we just got done filming this absolutely amazing chicken dish that we could use with a lot of different meals throughout the week. And I'll be testing it, eating it, and seeing what the glucose response is so that the people in our community who are concerned about that can see if this is something they want to try or something they want to avoid. Certainly, I know I'm going to avoid anything that goes in the wrong direction because sometimes the glucose response is surprising. So that's why we're testing it. Now, yes, it's one data point, and everybody can have varying degrees of response to the stimuli, as it were. But it's going to give you a good opportunity to see what the possibilities are for you and to help make choices. So for me right now, one of the main things is to lower the glucose response and to lower those spikes and to not have as many spikes happening, right? So it's going to roll, right? That's fine. But it's the spikes of 30 deciliters per millimeter, whatever the hell that means, or more that cause the problem. I don't have to know the science and everything behind it. I just have to be able to watch the graph and see what's happening. So anytime that I'm eating something or I'm doing things that are keeping it to where those spikes aren't happening, better for me, better for every part of me. And so that's what I'm focusing on. So when I'm looking at the labels, getting back to the labels in the kitchen, the things in my pantry, the things in the junk drawer that we have, right, that has the cookies and the snack foods in it, I'm looking at those and seeing which ones of those cause that. I'm also then, my next step is looking at those that have artificial dyes. So no more nacho cheese Doritos for Rick. I'm looking for those things that have a lot of the bad ingredients, right? Seed oils, dyes, sugars, several different types of sugar. And I'm making sure that those, I either find a replacement or I don't eat them. Now, does that mean that at Thanksgiving, when our family likes nacho cheese, Doritos, and cottage cheese, and you use it as a dip, and some of you are doing exactly what I did in the beginning. I went, oh, that's disgusting. I like cottage cheese. I like Doritos. But think about it. After a while, cottage cheese is pretty bland. And Doritos get kind of overpowering. When you put the two of them together, I'm telling you, they're really, really good. The Thanksgiving, am I going to have that? Yeah. Balanced. I'm trying to avoid, but I'm not looking for perfection. Okay. Now, when it comes to seed oils, my goal is to not have any of them in the house. Is that going to happen? I don't know. They're really omnipresent. Added sugar is another thing I'm really trying to get rid of to the most part, but I don't have to get rid of it completely. It doesn't mean I can't cook with reasonable amounts of sugar as long as the end product isn't spiking my blood sugar. So the thing I have to do is to get the majority of the useless amounts of sugar that is in the foods, the processed foods, so that I become addicted to them, so that I can have it in the foods that I'm cooking and I'm having without the same effect. That makes sense? Because, yeah, this is my opinion, and it may vary from everybody else's. I don't care. But I do think they're out to get you. Not that they're necessarily out to intentionally make you sick. I just don't think they care if that's the outcome. What they're trying to do is raise profits by making you addicted to the foods that you're eating. If you really want to read a good book and dive into this a little bit more, the book is Salt, Sugar, and Fat by Dr. Moss. It's a good, thick book, but he goes in and shows how food companies manufacture food, how they study us like guinea pigs to see what the response is to how the mouth feel, to the sugar response, the fat response, the whole thing. They have studied us like guinea pigs So they know exactly what we were going to do. We're like little Pavlov's dogs. And every time we eat that, everything lights up in our pleasure centers, and we have to eat that food. That's the purpose of making it the way it is. It's certainly not to make us healthy, because you look at the rise of processed foods over the past 50 years, and you look at the simultaneous rise in the absolute destruction of our country's health. Doesn't take a brain scientist, which is good because, well, I'm not. So let's start with us, or let's start with our families. Those that want to participate, some do, some don't, that's fine. But let's start making choices that make a difference in our health. Who knows? Somebody may say, I remember when you couldn't get out of bed and you were dragging around all day long, and you were, the brain fog was horrible and you had no energy and you were fat and you were just, you were horrible. Your health was horrible. And now all of a sudden it's changed. What did you do differently? And you'll be able to help. And that's how we go from where we are now to making America healthy again.